Thinking about self-publishing and don't know where to start? Join the Spa Girls each week for 30 minutes of honest advice, tips and resources. I'm Trudi J and I'm here with Wendy Vella.
Hello.
Cheryl Phipps.
Hi there.
And Shar Barrett.
Hello.
Hello. It's just us today. You've just got the four of us. No guests, no interesting people to distract from us.
Excuse me, we're all interesting. Speak for yourself.
Okay, sorry.
No people that we make talk and just listen to.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to actually say some stuff today.
We actually have to find some content today.
I think it'll be good stuff.
Yeah,
hopefully. No. What are we talking about today, Trudi?
Well, we decided so we were talking about my post on the Facebook group the other week, and it was about organization. I was saying, I can't organize and I'm forgetting stuff and and then we were sort of talking about that and thinking, well, actually different people organize in different ways, and we had some great posts and then Shar brought up Gretchen Rubin's 4 tendencies, and so she has this concept of there's 4 different types of people, and how you approach things depends on what your kind of tendency is, and then so we'll kind of go through those tendencies, but it kind of fits with what we've always said with the podcast is about we're all really different, we all approach things differently, and therefore that whole different ways up the mountain thing to us was it sort of speaks to that. So we just,
and I like it that it's tendencies. Everybody's got a little bit of something else kind of thing. So it does, it's not like a square box that you don't slightly overlap, but it just, when you start looking into it, it really is quite. I don't want to use the word confronting,
but you just did.
It can be right. Yeah.
But it's not. But none of them is better. Not one of them is better than another one.
No,
like it's not like you have to move through the levels.
Yeah.
It's just different. Like they're all kind of on the same level.
It's not a Mario game.
It's not a Mario game. No.
So, and I mean, it's not like this isn't kind of something that's out there in the world, but in different forms and things, but we just thought we'd go through this particular one with the 4 tendencies. I did the test. I don't know, and I'm assuming Shar's done the test. I don't know. Did you do it, Cheryl?
I did it. Yeah,
you did. But Wendy is she's the slacker. I think she might be the rebel.
Maybe that's what it's all about. She could well be.
Actually, so just to
let's talk about the 4.
Just to give some context, just to give some context to the test, it's just a free 5-minute test, just some questions. We'll link to it in the show notes, but it's on GretchenRubin.com and you'll see it there.
I'll do it all right. Don't need to push it.
Yeah, you're definitely the rebel.
She's feeling a bit rebellious today.
Rebel. So I'll just quickly go through the 4 different types, tendencies. And then I think we'll try and kind of talk through some stuff based around those tendencies. And so the first one is upholders, and they want to know what should be done. They just want to get doing. They don't want to no, just get it done. Like they're the doers. Those people, we all know them. Yeah. Wendy,
they're the ones at the working bee when everyone's standing around talking and wanting coffee made, and that they're just out there just like you're doing.
No, they're the ones when everyone's standing around discussing how they're going to approach the whole thing and questioning what's best to be done first, and then they look over and Wendy and Cheryl have already got half the work done. That's the doers. Not that I'm saying that Wendy and Cheryl are doers, obviously, because that would be boxing them up. The next one is questioners, and questioners want justifications for stuff. So they're the ones standing in the working bee discussing and saying, well, I don't agree.
That'd be true.
I don't agree.
I was going to say, do we know anyone like that?
Explain that to me and do it in a pie graph, and I want a 3-step process, please.
So one of the things that Gretchen talks about is being externally motivated or not externally, in other words, internally motivated. Mm-hmm. So upholders are externally motivated, and I'd say questioners that it's acknowledged that questioners are not externally motivated.
Okay. I was going to say,
they question outer expectations. Yeah.
So like if someone
they want logic.
Yeah, I want an explanation of why I'm doing this, or else I don't want to do it. Like, don't.
But you've
I
got
do
to
that
know
to my husband all the time. He's like, I think we should do this, and I'm like, why? You explain it to me. Can we have some justifications?
I do feel
I don't think he is a questioner at all. He just wants me to just do it.
How many times have we done something and she's gone, but why? And I'm like, because we just want to do it. But why do we want to do it?
That must be just so relaxing to live with, can I just say?
Hang on a minute. Let's just drill down a little bit further.
Wait, I just need to write a few questions with little sub questions off of those questions.
Yeah.
I hear your arguments for that, but I don't believe them. Give me more. So anyway,
hey, are you saying this like kind of with a tone? But I think this is really positive,
It's all
and I don't understand the problem.
Total love.
Exactly. But actually, I think you're probably going to cover this later on, but I actually think there's a little bit of all of those.
Yeah, and all of us.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Really.
Yeah, there's definitely,
There's more of a dominant one, right?
Yeah.
Which is what we all
exactly
stand
right.
up to, but there is also that underneath and I think that's actually specific to what the issue at hand is. I mean, if you're more interested in something, you're likely to be more of a questioner.
Yeah. So, okay,
Anyway.
the third one is obliges. And this is your people pleasers. These are the ones who want to make everyone happy, and kind of someone asks them to do something and they'll just go, oh yeah, totally, I'll try and do it. And then even if they've already got a really big workload, they'll go, oh yeah, give me more work.
Yeah, and I don't want to do it actually, but
I
don't know how to tell you I don't want to do it,
like I
so I'll do it.
I'm doing this out of duty and not because I want to. Like I'm yelling, I need to tell.
They're very
it's hilarious.
externally motivated again. So on the externally motivated side, you've got the upholders and the obligers. And obligers are willing to do it for other people, but not necessarily for themselves. So that's
Interesting.
It's an external motivation. This is where like accountability, external accountability works for writers, or working in a group can often, you want the obligers. Actually, if you're doing a group project, for example, obligers are good to have on board because they'll do it.
You want the upholders who'll do something, and the obligers who'll help out. You don't want the questioners because they'll just be annoying and hold you back.
No,
and the rebels won't even help.
You want a mix because you still got to get somebody to actually, get it out there.
Yeah. Okay, and then the fourth one, is rebels, and they want freedom to do something their own way. So they're those really awkward, annoying people who just want to do it their own way.
No, they're not annoying. We love our rebels as well.
Okay, no, I'm sorry, because I thought that's what I was going to be before I did the test. I had this idea that I was going to be a rebel, just because it sounds cool. Like
I thought you were an
upholder.
Well, I think you've got rebel tendencies because you do like things your way, right? It brings to mind that wonderful day that we had when we were dressing up for conference, the dinner situation, and that was fun. That was
what happened? Explain that. No, you can't be so vague.
When you were telling us what you wanted done, and then
we were
behind us because it wasn't
it,
exactly right. I think they were out by a quarter of an inch, and
so it wasn't
to be lined up, and we were terrible at it. Clearly,
it wasn't dressing. It was decorating
dressing the room.
Dressing the room. I was thinking it was some kind of costume we were putting on. I was like, I don't remember that situation.
No. So rebels enjoy a challenge, and I think. So that's why I do think this is why I'm automatically, which you shouldn't really pigeonhole people. You should only ever do the test yourself. But what the heck? I initially thought Trudi was a rebel because she enjoys the challenge and proving others wrong. And I think, but they're not externally motivated. That's an internal motivation to kind of, and they value freedom and they don't want to be confined by
so all of that is kind of me as well. So
it kind of
maybe
is.
I'm a rebel questioner. Anyway,
you're on the cusp.
Yeah, I'm on the cusp. I'm the cusp of everything here.
Well, you are, and like I say, everybody's got all of those in them because you can be obliging if you think somebody needs your help. You can.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's a mood thing, and it's a situational thing, and there's a I
can be a rebel. As I get older, the more rebel comes out in me.
I can be a rebel
on occasion. On occasion. Yeah. It's not pretty sometimes.
So now we've talked through that, and hopefully everyone listening is going to say, okay, I'm maybe this or maybe that. Or maybe you go away and do the test and you figure out where you are. I will say that
do it all right. Don't keep going on about it, okay?
I mean, the rest of us did it. I'm just mentioning the fact that the rest of us were organised prior to this episode. But, no pressure, Wendy.
There's always one slack, Sally.
My internet wasn't working. That's my excuse.
Yeah, whatever. Slacker. So, and what the point of these is also not just for knowing for yourself, but also kind of having an idea about other people. So, and maybe as writers, we're not always in a lot of work situations, but it's the idea of like you've got someone in your workspace who you kind of want them to help you in a certain way, and if you know that they are an obliger, well, that's easy, you just ask them and they'll do it. But if they're an if they're a questioner, sorry, I'm trying to remember the names, you've got to give them reasons for doing it and explain it to them in a different way that maybe an obliger won't need. Or if you're an upholder, you just tell them to do it and maybe they'll go and do it, as long as it's something to do, rather than they don't want to sit around in meetings. They don't want the meetings, they don't want to, they find that boring or actually annoying. They want just to be doing stuff.
I hate that.
So it's just that really helpful too. So that's part of what we're talking about today, is like how to get other people around you to do what you want by understanding how they see the world or how they react to certain things.
I think it could also work with your characters, with interacting with each other within the book. You know, like if you have an understanding of what your character, where they fit, and you know, are they a questioner, or are they an obliger, whatever. I think, you know, you could really use this to benefit that. Totally. Why are they doing that? You know,
especially if you want them to change, like you want them to go through the process, then what would make them change? What would make them become more of an obliger if that was what was needed or something like that? Or if it's not out of character, but just bringing it more to the fore.
A questioner and a rebel, you know, I mean, you're going to have heads, you know, I mean, probably out of the four of us, if you thought about, maybe I'm a little bit of a rebel and Trude's a questioner, we're probably the two that do go at each other more than the others.
I don't know what you're talking about, Wendy.
No, but what I'm saying is we probably test each other more, you know, and that's possibly because we're both of those that do have
internally motivated.
Internally motivated.
Exactly. You know, and it's very interesting when you drill down and actually think about it and you get an understanding of it. And the same could be for your characters easily.
That is such a good idea, Wendy, actually. Because I've heard of people using like the Myers-Briggs, you know, the NPGQR, whatever. But I always found that really complicated. Like it is complicated. And it is, and there's all these, was it 16 different types that you can be and all that. Whereas this is just 4, and it just seems a little bit less.
And so it's a tendency, you know, nobody's going to die if you get it wrong.
No, you're not pigeonholed. That is not you on a plate and that's it. It's not like that.
And let's face it, it also depends what you do for a job. I mean, if you're in a job, you can't be a rebel all the time kind of thing if you're working for, you know, a team or whatever. So,
Or maybe you are a questioner at work and then you come home and you're an obliger. You know?
Well, I mean, Trudi was a journalist, which is a perfect fit for a questioner. I mean, that's the whole, they've got to be curious about stuff and not, you know, like, it fits.
I loved asking questions about people and interviewing
and maybe even a rebel for arguing, you know, the point.
But
you're wrong, all of you.
But she's also an obliger in some ways. I mean, there's parts of her in the whole thing, if you actually look at it. The kindness and doing things for people.
Wendy. We like to be well-rounded.
We're writers, mate. We take on our characters.
It's true. It's very true. What do they say about you write people that you want to be?
Or lives, or in a world you want to live. Especially at the moment, right? You know, like I was the other day, I was doing some happy. Deadline at the moment, and I'm like, is there any chance I could just like disappear into this book? Because it's such a nice world, you know.
And they do exactly what they're supposed to, and they don't mess around. Okay.
Really, we won't go there. I was going to say something vulgar then, but I won't.
Wow. Well, I never. So the one question that Gretchen Rubin has on her website, or what she uses, is how do I respond to expectations, which I thought was a really interesting thing. So it's how do we respond to stuff, and so if we're going to use it maybe in the context of organizing, how do I respond to expectations around organizing? Could we maybe talk about that? Do you kind of? Is that
you want each of us to give how we would respond to that?
Maybe let's think about that in the context of the 4 different things that we've just talked about, the 4 different tendencies. How do you? So, what are the expectations around organizing? Like, we should be organized. We should have everything under control.
So it was interesting when you posted last week, and I mean this with love and no criticism whatsoever. But when you said, when you said, how do you not forget? Or it was sort of along the lines, and like, this is a general question, not you know, Trudi asked the question, but I was thinking about it, and I have absolutely no concept how you couldn't know how not to be forgetful. And I was thinking, and then I turned it around on myself, because I thought I didn't want to come from a judgmental place. It was just a complete blank to me that people couldn't understand how not to be forgetful. And then I just had no concept of that. But then I thought, oh my God, it's like how you guys must think about me. Like, I was like, just write it down, just do the work, right? And that's what you guys must think about me when I'm waffling on about how hard I find fiction writing. You're like, just do the freaking work. Like, it's exactly the same feeling. And I was like, oh my God, this feels a very uncomfortable, frustrating feeling. Because my natural thing is, I'm organized and I really pride myself on not forgetting and all the rest of it. And it was just a very uncomfortable moment, because now I appreciate I stood in other people's shoes. So it wasn't directed at Trudi. It was a moment of self-reflection.
Nice.
Because it's all about what's important to you.
Yes.
And some things that you want to be important actually aren't.
And it was Trudy's post last week, and I was thinking of this, and then because I didn't feel good about that thinking, I thought, I have no answer for this because I can't understand how you can think like this. And then that delved me into the whole 4 tendencies listing, which is why we're here today.
We've arrived today.
Well, what was the original question though? What were we going? Organisation, was it?
Well, Trudy was talking about forgetfulness and how.
No, but just then she asked us.
I asked about what are your expectations and how do you deal with organisation, which is kind of maybe just a blah question that I'm more interested in what you're talking about.
No, that was really interesting actually from Shar.
Yeah, it's to me, I don't want to forget, but it's almost like I get so involved over here that I don't make the connection over here. Like I don't. Like I can't go, okay, I know I have to do this for an hour and then I remember that I still have to do this. I literally get so involved in the one thing. Like I put all my focus on the one thing.
You do.
That it's like the rest of the stuff doesn't exist for me. And I used to do it when I was I used to work at a education institution, and I would go, and it was only part-time. It was like 35 or 30 hours a week or whatever it was. And I'd go in there, I'd do the work, and then I'd leave and I would forget about it. Like I had this superpower that I didn't worry about.
That is a superpower.
That is a superpower.
And that truly is a superpower. And that ability to focus is also a superpower. So we're not saying don't be like this.
But that's the thing. It's like, but it means that and quite a lot, I will forget stuff. I will have this thing where I'm just like, I'm totally over here and I'm into it and I'm on board and I'm with it. And then I've forgotten to cook dinner. Peter will come home and he'll be like, weren't you going to cook dinner tonight? And I'll be like, yeah, probably, maybe, I don't know. Do we just want to get takeaway?
Don't we have a toaster?
Why are we being so fussy about this food?
I can't even fathom that.
No, that's what I meant.
It doesn't even even drop into my sight. I just can't get my head around that at all. I mean, I forget things, don't get me wrong, and luckily I have 2 diaries, and they're of the physical form, Shar and Share. So they will remind me of things constantly. I also have another assistant who will also remind me of things, and I write it down. But if I start the day knowing what I have to do, that never leaves my head. It's the extraneous little things that I don't lock in there. I know that there are certain things I have to get done that day, and there's no way I can finish the day without them. I think that's the Virgo thing within me, that needing to just go through. But to actually forget to cook dinner, and this is not a dig.
No, I know.
It's just
clear on that.
Completely. I know my husband gets in the door at 6 amount of time, and that I know in the morning before I start the day what's out for dinner, and I know what has to be done for the process to get that dinner made.
See, I plan to get stuff out for dinner, and I'll do it maybe one day, and then the next day I'll be like,
I know, but to forget it is just what blows my mind. That you actually can block it out like that, and it is a block, right?
But what Trudi is a living embodiment of Cal Porter's deep work. Like you can access, like it's something I strive for and can't achieve. You just do it, like it's your superpower. So I think we had Melissa Storm on, and she was talking about her like kind of OCD tendencies and like like working at a super fast pace, and that was her superpower rather than something she had to kind of push down to. And I think maybe it's about embracing your superpowers, but setting some parameters around it, so you're kind of protected a little bit from the fallout from those superpowers.
I have an alarm twice a week. I have to pick up Zoe from school. I have an alarm on my phone,
right?
Because otherwise I would work through it.
Oh,
I would
no,
pick her up.
Like, your child.
Literally, I would. I know I would. I have done.
So that's good. So there you go. So maybe it's like physically something that gets you out of it.
Yeah.
Noise.
Do you sleep really well?
Yeah.
I
I used to sleep better. This is why I hesitated, because I used to sleep like the dead when I was younger, and as I've gotten older, I don't sleep as well as I used. I used to be able to just sleep like in a car. Like I get car sick, and my defense against car sickness was always just to fall asleep.
Yeah.
But do you wake up at 2:00 in the morning?
Oh, sometimes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! And like all those thoughts are just going jing 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 jing.
I do. No, I do not worry about that. I did like last night. I was having dreams. I have bad dreams, so I was having dreams about missing planes. Do you ever have that? I have missing plane dreams. So yeah, see, look at all those no's.
You don't want to worry about that at the moment, though, do we? Can't fly anywhere.
No, but I mean, we just went down to Queenstown by plane.
But maybe that's you're missing something. Like there's something you've forgotten, or you're aware that there's a schedule.
Was Zoe home last night? Did she check your bed? Was she in bed? Had you picked her up from school?
Yes. Okay. Oh, but this morning we couldn't find her glasses. God knows where her glasses are. Anyway.
Anyway, so it just shows how different we are, right?
Yeah. So, but I think Trudy's worked out something that does work, which is her alarm. And so maybe it is, rather than like writing stuff down, I can see for you would just get like, you wouldn't see
I write stuff down and I'm constantly checking it, but I literally have to remind myself like that. It does work for me, but I have to constantly go back to and go, oh shit, right, okay, now I'm supposed to stop that and I'm supposed to go to the next thing. Like,
so maybe an alarm that is that a chime or something that like at whatever time, at maybe 10 and 4 is just to trigger you to read it. Maybe that's what a prompt like that.
Yeah. I mean, because I resist the idea, because what I could do is have like the alarm go off every hour and just do stuff in hourly chunks.
That would be too much. I think that would be too much for you.
Well, it does. I resist it quite a lot when I think about it. Like I'm kind of like,
Or you could be really uber organized like Cher. She's the most organized person I know.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work. Sometimes it's frustrating.
Her diary is just a thing of wonder.
So can I just, before we move on to Share, can I just go through the questionnaire? So it's a little graphic that I discovered here on the Intertubes, and it's really more about self-care. But what they talk about for Trudi questioners is define your habits clearly, how, what, and why. And I think the how and the why would be really important for you. So why should I set the alarm? It's that kind of knowing it. Then it says tracking your habits, investigate options for self-care habits, and research interesting self-care habits, and observe your excuses. It's an interesting one. I think we can all relate to that one.
Observe my excuses. I mean, I've had a lot of excuses in the past. I've been doing a bit of work on that kind of stuff.
But you do a lot of, you do. You're. I would say 2020 has been a year of
observation.
Anyway.
What do you do? Like, I think as opposed to Share and I, you do fill your time. You're doing courses, you're doing listening to podcasts, you're doing this, you're doing that. You don't have one select focus. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think
that's actually a bad thing.
It's also, I didn't want to say bad, but you did. But that sort of probably bogs your mind down a little bit. Whereas Share and I are probably, okay, these many words have got to be written today, this many ads have got to be run today. Those are the two things we're going to do.
And there is no question around that.
That's right.
There's
nothing questioner, and I'm not sure that would fill you well.
No, it wouldn't.
No, it wouldn't. One thing.
It wouldn't.
But it's something I've worked really hard on this year, because I was doing and partially because of the podcast, but other stuff as well, like me looking up and talking to so many different people. There are so many different things that we could be doing and so many different ways to make things happen for us that I was trying to do all of them. And I had to really focus this year on just bringing it all back and just being into just writing the books, doing Facebook and my newsletter. And that's been my focus.
Because you can get overwhelmed, right? And we quite often talk about this, because Shar and I spend quite a bit of time writing together, and we quite often say sometimes both of us think we should be doing more, we should be learning more, we should be, and then you just got to go, okay, well, what's working? Is it working what you're doing at the moment? So why do you need to reinvent the wheel? Okay, I think upskilling is massively important, don't get me wrong, and especially in this industry, which is always evolving. But I think if you're someone like Shar and I, you just take a small bite and you learn that, and then you carry on with what you're doing, and then you learn, whereas you will go in and learn the whole thing in one hit. And you'll
one hit.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? And it won't actually, but for me, that would just, I'd be just bogged down. I just couldn't do it. It would just completely throw me off my stride.
And that's the interesting point, right? That's our point we're making, is that doing the things that I do isn't going to work for everyone. And doing the things that Wendy does won't work for everyone either. So don't, right. It's about knowing.
Like Shar's the same. She spends ages learning.
Yeah. I think, so we're not going to delve into it in this podcast, but we have talked to Becca Syme before, and she talks about your strengths. And I would say, again, without knowing Trudi's, but we probably feature really highly on a learner strength, and that is where we kind of get fed. We love information. We love taking it in, and actually teaching it, and the strategic as well, which is also you like to gather information and so that and that sort of, so you kind of got to honor that as well. It's just a matter of, but all these things are just frameworks, whether it's strengths, whether it's Myers-Briggs, whether it's this, it's just a little way. And I think the key for all of them is work with what you've got. Don't try and change yourself, because you can't, it's too hard.
But don't we try to do that? Isn't that because of the exposure we have to so much now, and this person's doing really well, and this person's hitting this and that, and I'm like, okay, well, what are they doing that's different?
You see, these authors having these amazing, for example, Instagram thingies, and you think, oh man.
I know. I kind of dabble in all those things, but I don't have the heart for it, because the passion that I have only goes so far in my mind, and so it has to begin with the writing, and then I have to see what's left over. Does that make sense?
Totally.
And that goes for time as well.
It's
whatever I need to do, and then it's whatever I have left over. I can play around on Facebook or whatever.
I think for me, if I take on something new and I can't grasp it within the first couple of days, I'm done with it.
And I do find that
really
a lot of learning things, there's a lot of waffle, and I just can't be doing with it. I have no patience with it. It's I guess it's kind of judgmental, but I'm like, well, if that's totally what it's going to be like, I just can't.
Which is a very away. That's the upholder in you. That's that kind of idea of you just want to get doing. You just want to get things done, and none of the waffle's going to matter. And
but you see, one person's waffle is another person's deep dive into something.
Yes, I do get that.
So it's all, and that's why different courses work for different people as well. And people, I often see authors saying, well, what's the one course I have to do for Amazon Ads? For some people, it will be doing a challenge, like on a Facebook group where you've got lots of interaction and it's kind of leading you through the steps. Other people, you want to really get in there and you really want to understand those algorithms and you want to understand behind the scene, like the nuts and bolts behind. Other people just just tell me what to do, like just give it to
that's
me.
That's
why different courses work for different people. This is why I'm still on Windows. The thought of Apple not letting me get into my C drive and start jigging things around in there drives me insane, because I'm the opposite to Wendy. If something is hard to learn, I love it. Like I do hard Sudoku every night. I do really hard jigsaw puzzles. I love the challenge of hard.
Once I've cracked it, I'm all over it, man. I am just an absolute the best at it. Like but quite often it'll take me 2 or 3 times to actually crack it, because I'll walk away and I'll go, no, this is not me. This is not me. This is BS. And then I'll go back and go, you have to persevere. You have to persevere. So I think, and also I'm a real start at the beginning, finish at the end thing. So if I have to do a whole module, I have to do it. So what I've tried to get myself to do is I've tried to go, okay, well, maybe that particular module will suit me at the moment. And now that I've sort of broken it down a little bit and gone that way, I find I'm learning a little bit better because I'm not making myself just do that whole linear thing.
Yeah.
So you're giving yourself permission to kind of maybe leave some steps out, kind of thing. Yeah. It's good. Or that's a way of dealing with it.
And I just have a brain's trust in you three. So really, if I need anything, I just go, help. And then you'll help me.
Oh dear.
That works well too.
I always think about Chris Fox. He has his series of books that are for writers, and I remember reading the first one at the beginning. I was like, I'm not going to give you all my background waffle. I'm just going to get in and tell you what you need to know. And I was like, but I like the background waffle. I want to hear a little better about you and your backstory. Like it was, but for him, who was clearly a doer and maybe he didn't want that. And to him, it was like that was wasted time, and he was which appeals to some and doesn't to others.
It's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting how different we are, all trying to achieve the same things.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about the four of us when we get together and have a meeting, the way we all approach those meetings is really interesting. Yeah. And you guys will be asking questions, and I'll go, can we just, what are we doing? And Cheryl will go, well, and this is what we're doing, and we're all, and that's the way we roll. You guys do all the research, like.
No, I'm looking at this. I know Wendy again is the only one that hasn't done the test, just pointing that out, and I am looking at Rebel here more and more. Identify if and why something is valuable. That's Wendy, like if and why. I
think so. The fact that she hasn't done the test even is the Rebel.
We're going to go on about it, eh? We're going to go on about it.
I'll do the test. You can never do the test, Wendy.
Yeah. I will do it.
The other thing I wanted to mention that's interesting is the way that so we had Amira on talking about, and she did that deep dive with me, and she was talking about the way, and I feel like I should be writing every day and do a certain amount every day and do it like that. But actually what appeals to me and the way I always sort of fall into working is going hard for a short period of time. And that is kind of flowing in with the deep dive concept. So it's kind of more to me that feels better because I can absorb myself and just be totally all in on that kind of environment. Whereas the doing a little bit every day feels a bit like to me. And it's funny because I know that that's such a big thing about other writers, and it's we always say, write every day and all this stuff. But for me, when I'm writing a book, I just want to be all in on it, and I don't want to sort of be a little bit in. I want to be all in.
And we've talked to some authors, haven't we, that they maybe do 3 months of writing, 3 months of marketing, 3 months of,
I think
that
Melissa
kind of thing.
Storm said that, and she did month on, month off. She wrote for a month, stopped. I don't know if she still does that, but that was for her.
That's why, again, we always disclaimer pretty much every podcast that I hate the absolutes, like you're not a real writer if you don't write every day, or you're not that's just somebody that just doesn't get that other people work differently.
Because that's not how they do it. They do it a certain way, so everybody should do it a certain way because they're successful at doing it their way. But success can happen in all sorts of ways.
And that's a big thing where you like someone's successful and they've done it a certain way, and you're looking in from the outside of that person saying, why can't I do that? And it can actually create that kind of the self-confidence sort of dies away, because you're like, why can't I do that? What is it about me? The doubt, like, what is it about me that means that I can't do it? That person can do it. And maybe this is why. This is just, you've got to find your way to do it. It's a real block. And how it's going to,
that can be a real block. That whole, comparisonitis is can really block you. And also, and that's another thing. A lot of people think, well, I'm not willing to write every day, therefore I'm not going to be successful. And that's for a newbie writer, that can be a real creative killer.
You can certainly try on, like you can look at somebody and you can aspire and you can try on how they work and see if it works, but equally don't if it's beating you down, try a different method.
If you took the four of us, sorry, Sheth, if you took the four of us, we've all tried something, right? Different.
Many different things, actually.
Yeah. Exactly. And yet we've probably all gone back to what we are.
I think so. I think maybe with a few tweaks, because I think if you're writing and you're not successfully writing in the way that you're getting enough words down at enough time, not looking at you, Shar, sorry, it's not about you, then you should try something else. You definitely should, because maybe there's something out there that will fit you better. You just don't know about it yet. You know, and maybe it will motivate you, or just lead you on to something else.
Because it's a lot of shoulds out there, right? Like
a lot of shoulds.
Should be doing it a certain way. You should do it like this, and
and the bottom line is writing's really hard. It's a real tough gig. It can be a real tough gig. And I mean, I was talking to someone the other day, and they go, "Oh, you're a writer," and I'm like, "Yeah." I thought about writing a book. It can't be hard, right? I mean, how many times have we hit that? And I just looked at them. I thought, you know, I could just reach across and just punch you right now, you know. But
that's the rebel,
and you know, penitentiary orange doesn't suit me, so I won't do that. But I was just like, I said to him, "Why do you think it's easy? You know, what makes you think it's easy?" And he was just like, "Well, because you're just writing about something you love, and it's your imagination." It's like, I was like, dude, you know, you've got no clue. Totally clueless as to how
when it's flowing, there's nothing better in the world. But when you have a deadline, or when you just
and it's not flowing,
need to get a book finished, and it's not, it's not a great place to be.
No,
I
it's
think
a real
it's
hard
true
gig.
though of most creative arts. I mean, I am absolutely, hold my hand up, guilty to stand in an art gallery and look at something with a square of paint on a blank and think, really,
My granddaughter could
but
have done that.
I mean, honestly, if we were, some of that art. You're not convincing me that took a long time.
It's probably the same for people that are musicians, and oh man, I'd love to be a musician and just play the piano all day, or play the guitar all day. You know, it's a little bit like it's unseen, and I think the process of writing is such a personal, internal thing. And you can see somebody on the keyboard, but you can't see all the wheels whirring.
It's not the norm, so therefore we don't understand it.
But it's this idea of talent too. Like, they're talented, that it must be easy for them, therefore it doesn't take much effort, therefore it just comes out and they're easy money, right? Rather than kind of, and I think as authors kind of let that float, like we kind of let that idea settle without really telling people, actually it's quite hard work and you have to do a long apprenticeship, and then
Actually, you're an idiot, and get out of my face. Is what I want to say.
That too. Anyway,
I want to get to the bananas.
I'd like to point out that I'm not sure that it has got anything to do with upholders, questioners, obligers, or rebels.
Maybe a rebel.
That little Wendy rebel. So I've lost where we were at.
That's all right, because I was just talking about punching people.
So we've now we've done exactly what we said we weren't going to do, which is identify people without just judging, basically. And we've just done that to Wendy.
Being judgy,
And
judgy.
Cher, what did you come out with on your test?
Obliger.
You're an obliger. That's me too.
I kind of knew I would be. And it sits quite firmly on my shoulders, but that doesn't mean to say I can't be a rebel when I feel like it, or a questioner.
But I think you're an upholder a lot.
I am. Yeah. So maybe I'm just, like, I'm always telling people, and I know you hate this when I say it, but that I'm average. But in this instance, I don't think it's in a negative way. I think it's just that I am a little bit of everything, and maybe more an obliger than all the others, but not hugely so. Maybe a little bit less of a rebel. But I really feel quite comfortable in saying that I am all of them.
I definitely fall into the obliger camp, which is like, I will never ever miss a deadline for a client or for a friend, but my own just get and the accountability, but working with others.
Do you get resentful about that?
I do. And I think for me, like for you, you're looking at doing quite a lot of internal work on why you do things and how you do things, and for me it's the same. And I don't, like, initially I was thinking, is it like how you're growing up, or is it a woman thing? But actually I don't think it is. I think it is very much a personality, and it all comes down to the motivations and the internal motivations. It's important. I'm more motivated by external, other people's motivations than my own. Like, I've always described myself as the backup singer, not like I'm. But the older I get, the less that's not. I'm feeling, without being morbid about it, time is getting less, and so but one of the things that I can absolutely say works for me is other people not using them, but having other people that I kind of account to. So if I'm getting like, and tracking is really, really important, because and like I do 2 things a day that's for me, and I have it in my diary, and I'm a huge planner, but I tick those off, and that makes me feel really good, and it sets me up for the day that I've done something for me. And that's really, and they're little tiny little things, but it doesn't matter. It's all about the tracking and the process, and also working with a group to get something done. Like I, in a million years, would never have done this podcast if it had been me. Like we needed actually all of us with our different, tendencies and strengths to actually get this going. I'm really good once something's going, but I'm not the getting it going kind of. I'm not the starter.
You're the Indian, not the chief.
Whereas I can be the starter, but I'm not the person who continues going forever.
And that's where working in a group can work. And if you're a writer, okay, you're not necessarily co-writing with somebody, but you could get a group like this together of people. And I mean, one day when we can actually see other people face to face, and you can still do it online, is just people, like I'd say a smaller group, but it doesn't even have to be a critique group or an accountability group. It's just having that external, I don't know, just having
it's a think tank,
strengths.
isn't it?
Yeah. And I think it is good I think that it's really encouraging actually when you look at how other people work, and you realize that everybody's got their foibles. Nobody's got it sussed. Nobody. We haven't talked to a single person on this podcast in 5 years that's like, you know what, I've really got my shit together.
Yeah.
And you look at them and you think they have. No, and you look at them and you think they have, and you're like, and you hold them up as this, look, they're the pinnacle of, and then you talk to them and you go, oh.
Yeah, I think that's a great fallacy of life, man. We look at other people and we think, man,
you got it all going on.
Once I get to be where they are, then everything will be perfect, which is a big lie. Nothing is, everything you just have to make it.
Everyone can put on a really good show if they need to.
Yeah, or even not a show. Like we see what we want to see. We want confirmation bias. We see the Bella Andres of the world and just think, man, she just must,
her life must be daisies and roses.
And she is lovely.
She's super lovely.
She's awesome. Like, I love Bella Andre. She's amazing.
But she also talks very honestly about, and she said when she came here, about burnout and about actually like not looking after herself. So like we're all a work in progress.
Total work in progress. We really are. And that's a good thing. I couldn't handle perfection in someone else.
No, dear God, no. And it's the same in our characters in our books. Who wants perfect characters? Boring.
Boring.
So actually, I think going back to the book thing, I think, there's lots of different cool graphics. If you look up the 4 tendencies and actually look at images, you could actually do this and do your characters. It would actually be really interesting to have them on opposite,
sides of it.
Like internal versus external. Yeah, no, that's a good idea. I really do like. I hadn't thought of that when we actually started the podcast, but it is a good idea, using them, and a nice, simple way to do it too. Not as confusing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, do we have anything else that we want to mention about the 4 tendencies, things that we do, how to work things?
I would just say the other thing. So, I listen to a huge amount of podcasts, and like I love my self-help and different productivity podcasts and things like that. And one of the things that works, I think, for a lot of the different tendencies is linking. If you're trying to do something, link it to something that you're already doing. So for example, with my 2 little things that I want to do each day for me, I have my routine in the morning, and I get up and I do my coffee, and then I do these 2. Like you attach it to something that you're already doing. And so for Trudi, with her alarm, maybe it's something she's already doing. When she goes to the loo in the day, maybe she's got a wall chart in the loo. I don't know. Just saying, that kind of thing. That it's linking it to other things. And don't try and change it all at once. I would say that too. Just do it at a time.
But it's not necessarily about changing stuff. It's about working within your tendencies. So knowing how you approach things and using those as a superpower, not as a problem. and making
I think that's
them.
a great way of looking at it. Yeah.
So if you're an obliger, you just get Wendy to tell you to finish a book and put it up on, and then gives you a deadline, and then you have to oblige Wendy by doing that rather than it being to yourself, like something like that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
use it rather than trying to.
Yeah, and whatever, if you do the quiz, which Wendy's probably going to do soon,
Maybe not.
I
don't think she will.
I can almost guarantee, again, not being judgmental, that but this time next week, Wendy still wouldn't have done that quiz.
She will have. She'll
now
do it.
Look, did you see the glint in her eye?
Yeah.
She'll do it for us.
She's going to do it.
She'll
now,
oblige us.
No,
that
she won't. She'll be like, "Why do I need to do it now? We've done the podcast.
I know all about it.
It's a waste of space to me to do it now. It would just be a time suck, and I have
then it wouldn't
no
be just us telling
it.
you what you are. You'll be able to see for yourself.
I know what I am, and that's to me. I try not to put extraneous things in my day, and that would be something now that's a waste of time because you've explained it all to me and we've decided what I am.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
What if we're wrong, Wendy? What if we're wrong?
She could be a complete obliger.
I think she's a total upholder. The fact that she doesn't want to know means that she's
you
not
do know that sort
She's
of thing
an
doesn't work
upholder.
on me, eh?
My point was, whatever you do turn out to be, it's okay. That's absolutely okay.
Again, why would I want to do it when I'm happy with who I am? Ish.
It's not that we're unhappy. The rest of us are unhappy with who we are. Like
I know what you mean. No, I probably won't do it, but thanks for telling me about it.
And on that note, go do the quiz. Everyone else.
And tell us. You don't even have to tell us what you are, but just tell us basically, how you work with your superpowers.
Yeah. Awesome. I like it a lot. So that is another episode of the Spa Girls podcast in the can.
Therapy with the Spa Girls.
The what?
Therapy.
Oh, therapy with the Spa Girls.
Free with the Spa Girls.
Free therapy. That's what we offer here in the spa.
We are not experts. We are no way condoning the.
We are so far from experts.
You shouldn't listen to us at all. No more.
Clueless.
Let's
clueless.
get Trudi off here right now. You guys all take care. We'll see you soon.
Oh, where can we be found? We can quickly.
We can be found at spargirlspodcast.com.
Awesome.
We are. And all our links are there. And come see us on YouTube and drop a subscribe because we're now almost up to 200 people, and that would be my goal for 2020. 200 subscribers on YouTube.
It's good to have goals.
Okay, it's good to have goals. Go you, Shar. Okay, thank you all for listening. See you again.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.